What's up? What's up? What's up? Happy Friday. Happy Friday. It's June.
You was you taking us to January?
I was almost there too. Then I was like, oh, wait, no.
God, what's going on? You were strong in that Jan. You were strong in it.
It is
Wow.
June the 28th. It is Friday, the last Friday in June. This is the last day we can be gay.
The last. Well, you
Friday,
know what?
rather.
We're gonna be gay regardless, but
Yeah, I'm gonna take it
it's the
into
last
July.
one.
Yeah, for
Right.
sure, for sure. Absolutely. So listen, I am Keisha. I am one half of the host of the Regal Mindset Podcast show. Jay, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I am Joy, the coach. I am the other half of the Regal Mindset, and I'm excited about our topic tonight.
Absolutely. We continue in our conversation about the gens as they transition and work through the workforce and their college experiences and the legacies that they bring and contribute to society.
Right. So, this is it may not be trending in a lot of ways, but it is so important that we really need to hone in on this because this is the only, what is it called? I don't want to say era, but the only span of time where all of these generations are going to be represented in the workforce. I said
Yeah,
before, you got baby boomers, Gen X, Gen Z, millennials. I forgot about them.
hmm
And we are represented across the board in all of these generations.
yeah,
And you have to be a very special somebody to navigate through these generations in the workplace. And
absolutely.
so when we started this conversation, we were laughing at the Gen Zs, and we got so much more to laugh about. But they're in a world of their own, 100,000%. They in a world of their own.
Absolutely. And you know what? You touched on some points that, like you said, I think it really takes an individual, like you said, with a certain level of skills to be able to manage that type of employee and the
Mhm.
different kinds of diversity, like you said, across the generational gaps. That takes
Right.
a lot of patience and understanding.
And just because you have to have extreme emotional intelligence in order to navigate. And you can't navigate because right now we have people from the silent generation and we have
hmm
people from baby boomers
hmm
that are in Congress. And we see the rules that they're trying to implement.
hmm
They're outdated. They don't resonate with the people today. They're not up, they're antiquated. And so when you're looking at that, you're like, all right, these are the people that are is running our country,
Yeah,
right?
unfortunately.
But then exactly, they're running our country. And then you have in the corporate space, you have more baby boomers that are on the corporate level because they're holding on.
In position of
They
power,
want
yeah.
to be, yeah, they want to be decision makers. And so, what does that look like for people they don't understand? So, if you have them already running the country, and then now you put them in the space of the C suites, you don't know how to connect to the other generation because you don't understand it. You don't get
Yeah.
it. You want somebody to come in their power blue suit, power black suit. You want their hair to be a natural color. You want a woman to look like a woman. You want a woman to act like a woman. You want her to be the secretary, be in her place with her nice little pearls, a red lipstick, a little heel. That's what you want. And that is what you measure professionalism on. When these generations are more educated than we could ever be, more emotionally intelligent, but they got pink hair. And as a baby boomer, how do you accept that? How do you navigate through that?
That's if they don't flip their wig, man.
Man, they don't understand it. And then it's like, all right, and then the only people that's in those generations that are getting opportunities are friends of children of friends.
Yeah.
because you got the what they call that thing, the boy club.
Yeah.
So
Well,
they'll be willing to give the young Ethans and the young Chandlers opportunities because it's a friend thing. But what about people like us?
yeah.
So we have to navigate through that. And I have it on my to-do list to do a series of leadership trainings, and it's called Navigating the Generations.
Mm,
Because when we're
that'll be
going to
good.
start talking about Gen X tonight, you're going to understand why we need to be able to navigate these generations.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Absolutely. Well, it's a conversation, like you said, that we really need to have. We've got Coco tuning in, so hopefully she can give us her feedback as well. Some other people. Coco,
She's
please
too
share the
young for
live if
this.
you don't mind.
She's too young for this. I'm just joking.
Right. Well, other people gonna chime in too, also. So
Yeah.
we would love to hear their feedback. But yeah, I agree. I think this is the Gen X people are a unique group in that, like you said,
Very.
we can reach back to the baby boomers, and then of course we may be in position to lead or manage Gen Z's as well as millennials. They in there too. They like right in the middle. Or
Man,
like,
we keep
well,
forgetting about them. But I
listen,
mean, but the truth be made known, either we were raising millennials or we was raised in the millennial. So it's
yeah, I guess.
like, we understand it, but we also have that strength, like you said, unique strength to
Mm-hmm.
where we had to fend for ourselves. We had to pretty much raise ourselves. We
Mm-hmm.
had to navigate through life without that support. We are extremely independent. We
Yeah,
are very resilient. Not saying nobody else is, but think about it. Our parents was working.
yeah,
We
tough
was going through that whole crack time frame
phase. Yeah,
where everybody was on crack, seemed like,
yeah,
and we
yeah.
was home cooking not oodles and noodles, cooking the macaroni and cheese boxes for our little
Uh-huh.
siblings. These kids can't do that. These kids will die if that refrigerator not full. We can like, oh, give me a bag of rice and some chicken. I'm good for a week.
Okay.
Like, why are you stressed out? Why are
Yeah.
you? What you crying for?
They have no clue how to warm up food without a microwave.
No clue. They can't tell time on a watch with a regular hand if it's not
At all.
digital on their phone. We grew up without cell phones.
Yeah,
We had a
absolutely.
system. If all the bikes was in front of somebody's house, that's what was the place to be. That was your Facebook group.
Okay. That
Or
was your
at
little
that little
social club.
green, yeah, that little green box. And the fact that they don't even understand what drinking out of a water hose mean. That means you wasn't coming back in the house until your day was over because your mama told you to stay outside.
Stop closing and opening my door. If you ain't heard that at least 10 times in your life, then you are definitely not a Gen X.
When if you was, in most houses, when you had to go pick your own switch, you're like, so you gonna make me go get it? And you still gonna whoop me with it? So
Yes, yes.
we're built different. We
Absolutely.
went through Mogan David, which everybody want to call Mad Dog. We done been through Boom. We done been through Cisco. We done been through Boone's Farm. We done been through Everclear. We done been through all of these, and our esophaguses are still intact. When we was drinking pure gas, and ain't nobody say nothing.
We made it through. We on the other
We
side,
made it.
man.
Like, screw COVID. We made it.
Okay. We made it, man. We made it.
We
We need a
made it.
badge.
Man, we almost died 13 ways. When we had to play
Yes.
ground and we had to swing on those hot swings and those hot
Okay.
slides burning you coming down, we made it. You can't tell us nothing.
And we got the wounds to show for it.
Listen, and we are emotionally damaged so much until it made us emotionally what's the word? I don't want to say smart, but we was damaged emotionally so much that it made us emotionally mature.
Yeah.
Because you was
Faster than we
told,
needed. Yeah.
yeah, because it's like, what you crying for? Go cry them dishes.
Yeah.
You couldn't be depressed. You couldn't be sad because as a kid, you wasn't given emotions to have. Your parent had your emotions. My mom would tell me all the time, I I ain't give you. That's my butt. You ain't that. Or she say the A word. I ain't give it to you yet. Oh, well, dang, it's on my body. Remember when they went into the doctor's office with us? It was no telling them no. Now these
Yeah.
kids 13, you can't even go in the doctor's office with them. I would still remember my mama standing in line picking my classes at high school, and I was standing right there. She could walk up to the school, look through the window.
Oh, okay.
We are a different breed, and you can't
Absolutely.
take that
It
away from
shows.
us. So
It
leave
shows.
us sleep while we sleep.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree. I think that time really, like you said, it taught us so much, and it prepared us really in a
Mm-hmm.
lot of ways to be in leadership positions. Of course, we had to, like you said, take care of our younger siblings, cousins, or what have you, whatever the dynamics of the family was. But there were so many things that it prepared us for, right? We again, and then it was a positive and a negative, right? There's a lot of things, a lot of hurt and trauma that came from having to deal with all of those things prematurely, right? There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of trauma that we had to face because our parents weren't in the house; they were working because they had to do what they needed to do. So there's some pros and cons with that. What I hope is that when we started having our children, and the millennials and the Gen Zs, that some of them, right? So they're mixed in there, that they have learned some of the lessons that we tried to pour into them, and hopefully make the Alpha or Gen Alphas a better generation. That's my hope, right?
Yeah, and that's a great hope. But we trauma was, if it wasn't you being essayed or something like that, it really wasn't trauma. It
Yeah.
was how things went down in the house. So unless it was a physical where you was getting, remember on what it was Good Times when Penny got burnt with that iron, that
Yeah.
was trauma.
Yes.
But you getting your butt whooped wasn't trauma. That you
That
just
was a
got your butt
Wednesday.
whooped. You go take a nap. Right.
That was a Wednesday.
You didn't get an A on that test. I'm gonna whoop you behind when you get home. That
Yeah.
wasn't trauma. Getting
Yeah.
left over the weekend with your grandma. Now, to me, it's trauma now, but getting left over the weekend with your grandma and you got to eat
Not a
cereal
punishment.
with no sugar because she got diabetes. That wasn't trauma. That was, please come get me. And now it's like these younger generations, everything is trauma.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
need to set boundaries. I wish I still say yes, ma'am. No, no,
Me
ma'am.
too. Me
I'm
too.
scared to. I might let a curse word slip out of now again, but my mama didn't tolerate that. She'd be like, "Who you cussing?" I'm like, I'm in my 40s, right? I can say what I want, but I'm saying it over the phone because I'm not gonna say it in her face.
From a
So it's
distance.
like these people, they don't understand, and it's like you look at them and like, "What you crying for? Figure it out. If A and B don't work, damn it, go to D. Find something that works."
Yeah, they don't have the skill sets to figure it out, and thank God. Yeah, that was of service to me. That helps me even today.
Right.
You have to figure it out.
You
No one's
have
going to
to.
come along and offer you a solution.
They want somebody to write it out. And it's like us, we don't have time to write it out for you because I already told you. I texted to you. Like, what
You're
else do you want
absolutely
me to
right.
do?
All right,
So no,
absolutely.
we are the best.
Yeah,
I don't
I,
care
I
what nobody
100%
say.
agree. All right.
I don't care
Right.
what
So
nobody say.
I know we've got a host of different ages that
Mm-hmm.
watch us, right? So I want to run through the different generations, and I'll give you the years that go along with that before we jump into the video.
Right.
So apparently, I guess before we started documenting, or the only one that's documented, greatest generation was from 1900s up until the 1925, I'll
Mm.
say. And then after that is what they call the silent generation, and that was from anywhere from the 1925 all the way up to the 1943, 45, somewhere around in that area. And then the baby boomers, of course, was anywhere from the 1943, I'll say, up until the 1961, 62. And then we've got Gen X.
Us.
Gen X was anywhere from between the 1960 to the 1980s. Now, some of the places that, or some of the research that I did, I saw was 1965 to 80, early 80s. So sometimes, it fluctuates in between there. Then we got, of course, the millennials, anywhere from the 1980s to the 2000s. Gen
Hmm.
Zs, of course, we talked about them last week. They're anywhere from 19 late 90s all the way up until 2000. Looks like we'll say 21. And then we've got Generation Alpha, who is coming, ushering right along or right under
That's our
us.
YouTubers. That's what they are. They're the
Yeah,
YouTubers.
yeah, yeah.
I am not a baby boomer.
She wants you to be a baby boomer.
No. And like I've said it multiple times, I was raised by two people of the greatest generation. My
Okay,
grandfather, which is my dad's father, he was born in 1910, I think.
okay.
And because he was 60 something when I was born, he died when he was like
Oh,
93. So,
yeah.
and I was in my 30s then. So, and my great grandmother, she was born in 1918
Okay.
and she raised me. Now, her
Yeah.
daughter was born in 1938,
Okay.
something
Silent
like that.
generation. Yeah.
Yeah, she was a solid generation. She was mean though. I don't like that. They should have stayed silent. And then you got my mama that was in my dad 57
Baby
and
boomer.
58. Yeah. And then so I don't had interact. And then to my other grandparents, the Wesleys, I lived with them for years, and I believe they were probably part of greatest because silent because she in her 80s. Either way I
Okay.
go, I've been around old people all my life.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Mothballs and cedar sticks all day.
Yeah, it's a distinct smell you can't get rid
You
of. I
know,
promise
you and newspaper and kerosene. You like, come on.
you. Absolutely, faithfully too.
They
All
knew
right,
how to
so
get
let's
it.
cue up. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, let's cue up the video so we can get into our discussion and invite the audience members to contribute and chime in. Again, if you're following, if you're listening, please like, click, and share.
All right. You
So, what's
ready?
the video you got here?
So I got this one of my TikToks. Got this off TikTok. It was a lot. So TikTok, they make a lot of humor videos
Yeah.
about the generations, and it'd be so accurate. But since we're talking about generations and workplaces, I thought this was very relevant
Mhm.
because one of the newer protected classes in the EEOC is ageism, being 40 and over.
Yeah.
Because at one point they were terminating, they went before this became before 40 and over became a protected class. Once you reach a certain age, they would just terminate you.
Mm,
Yeah, this
that's
hasn't
great.
been but maybe 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a wrap.
Yeah.
They
And
didn't
40 is
care.
not old.
It's not old, but when they're looking at, I can get a 20-year-old to come in and do XYZ, so now when they do mass layoffs, they have a statement where they have to send out showing how many people of a certain age was included, how many people of a certain gender, so forth and so on, to make sure that they're meeting the quota. So people like us are in this space, and this young lady is going to bring out some good points, and then we're going to touch base on the points about it. All right.
Perfect.
Those aged roughly between 44 and 59, they're getting squeezed from both sides in the job market. Firstly, many baby boomers are delaying retirement, holding on to leadership roles Gen Xers might naturally progress into. Secondly, there's a perception that Gen X is not tech savvy enough for employers who are prioritizing digital natives for open positions. This is despite a lack of evidence to support this stereotype. Nick, a 49-year-old HR executive, is a good example. He's been laid off, and despite hundreds of applications, interviews, and even reaching the final round, he keeps getting beat out by younger candidates. He's even received suggestions to hide his education dates on his resume to avoid employers calculating his age. Ageism is a real problem, and it is especially difficult for Gen Xers who are often stereotyped as outdated or stuck in their ways. Women in this age group face an even tougher challenge, being seen as less committed due to potential family obligations. But the reality is that mid career workers bring a lot to the table. They typically have a strong work ethic, low absenteeism, and emotional stability compared to younger colleagues. They have also had to adapt to new technologies throughout their careers, so don't underestimate their digital skills. And here's the kicker. Ageism hurts businesses too. By overlooking experienced workers, companies miss out on valuable talent and miss the chance to create a more age-inclusive work environment. One expert suggests that just 8% of companies even consider age in their diversity and inclusion programs, and that needs to change.
A
A
lot.
lot of great points.
Great points. So when she brought up the whole resume thing, I've been hearing a lot of that by individuals and creators that do resumes where they want you, if you've been out of school so many years, like if you got your master's degree, but it was in the 80s or the 90s, early 2000s, they want you to remove the date
Mm,
because it shows how old you are and how antiquated your education was.
yeah,
It's ridiculous.
yeah,
Not only that, yes, we were the generation that came in when cell phones just started, but we could pick up a phone and know how to make a call. We can still use a calculator. We can still take a piece of paper and count. Where if you don't have something to add, that core math killed everything because I still don't understand it. We can do calculus. We can do all of that because that was what was made for us to learn.
yeah.
So I get it. But the point that, so how, wait, okay. How do you feel about her statement and how it could be perceived as if we are not up on technology?
You know what? I'm going to slightly agree with her to a degree, right? And what I mean by that is that I have a lot of elders in my family as well. 70s, 80s, late 60s. And they are challenged with technology. In the simple sense that I have some relatives that will not even allow you to text them because they can't figure out where to find the text at. Blows me. But
Oh,
yeah,
God, I have those
and I
ones.
have some I have some that struggle, like merging a call I would never ask any of them to add me to a call with anybody else because it's not going to happen. Just give me the number. I'll call them. I'll add them. You know what I'm saying? So yes, I could see where some technology would be a hindrance, especially if I'm going to employ somebody for any length of time. Then that means that I have to bring in another person to bring them up to speed with the systems, right? Because the systems do not look like what they did in the 1950s and 60s, right?
Right.
First, even just introducing a computer, because some elders or some people of a certain age will not mess with a computer. They feel like
Right.
it's overwhelmingly going to stress them out, which again, that blows my mind, but whatever.
I get
So
it.
I can
It is stressful.
understand. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I can understand their perspective and from that sense, right? But there are some who do take on the challenge and they do take the time out to learn and develop their technology skills, and they would be an asset, right? And along with those technology skills, the experience, right? Oftentimes they're very independent, right? And just so well rounded in the sense of they can handle many different roles. So
Right.
I agree, but I also understand their frustration.
I get that.
Hmm.
Now, I'm going to look at it from a perspective of, do we want to learn new stuff? Sometimes it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. If
True.
it worked for me, because we're typically down for a process. Processes work for us. It has
Yeah.
to make sense. That's just the way it is. Everything that we've dealt with in life had a process versus like Excel. I suck at Excel, but I also know I don't want to learn Excel, which makes me suck even more.
Mm.
Where people can go in and do formulas. No, I could take that spreadsheet and I'm going to literally put the information in where everybody's like, no, you do control X. I don't have time for that. I don't care enough to have time for it. But if I'm in a certain position at my job, why do I have to do it? I just got to be able to interpret the data. I don't have to physically do it. I get one of them young people to do it. That's what they get for. Because their life is dependent on finding quicker ways, which when you overstep process, you have to call people like us in to do a root cause analysis and find out where you went wrong. That's why they used to make us write out our what they call that thing? Make
Problem
us write
solving?
out the problem solve. Write it out. We need to see it.
Yeah.
And you need to see these things for the purposes of being able to show your work. We are a show your work person. They are, let me just give you the answer person. That's why they don't understand how to calculate the written word problems. Because they don't know how to go in and pick out the necessary information to get your problem. They want to sit there, okay, but if they started in Phoenix, okay, that ain't the important part. The important part is, this is the important part. It takes them too long to get there. So, yeah, like, do we have to, like, no, let me back up. No, AI is here. We can't get past it.
Yeah.
However, what AI can't do is get rid of the person who can pivot in a moment with critical thinking and change it from experience and on the job training and just an overall knowledge base. I can chat GPT anything, but chat GPT can't pivot the way I can in the midst of it. I don't have time to go in there and type and find an answer. So that's our value. That's our uniqueness, is because we can make a change. We're so adaptable to the point where it's like, okay, if it didn't work, let me try this other way. Everybody's gonna have a breakdown.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna throw my sister out there. She's a millennial. Breakdown. Just break down. Like, what you crying for?
Yeah.
What you
Now,
crying
Gen
for?
X are definitely resourceful.
But they know how to get it from a source. We've learned we are the source. So we can, we make, not all of us, some of us make bad managers. We do.
I can see that.
Because one, we're workaholics. Our work ethic, a lot of people under us don't have our work ethic and they don't understand. It doesn't mean that I'm going to overwork myself. It's our work ethic. I'm going to show up. I'm going to be there. I'm going to do what I said I'm going to do. Every little inconvenience don't cause us to run. And these younger generations, they are extremely quick, the slightest inconvenience, to go want to jump and play in traffic. So how do we navigate? And so that's why it's not good for us to be managers. Yeah. What we can be is put in a specific level in the corporation to be able to navigate others through it. I don't need to manage. I need to lead you. Because I'm going to lead you by example. I'm not going to manage the chaos. I don't have time for that. Yeah. I have 15 brothers and sisters. I'm not managing the chaos.
Well, there can be a balance, though. There can be a healthy balance in the workforce that is suitable and comfortable, I feel like, for everybody, right? So the Gen X's, I feel like we're at a place where we're mature enough to understand and respect, especially if a person has even gone to gain several college degrees and certifications. I think there's a level of respect there that we can appreciate from them having done that and what they contribute to the table. So that I feel like there is a balance. There's a way we can balance that.
Yeah. But how do we bring that balance? Because like I said, I don't want to be bothered with certain things. But I am a Generation X mentality, but I manage like a millennial.
Okay.
I do believe in, I understand that your child is sick, you need to take off. Right. I get that. I understand that life happens. And I'm not going to hold those life events against you as a merit decrease or unless you show me otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you start showing me that every Friday you taking off because it's payday, then I'm gonna take it for what it is.
Yeah.
I genuinely do care that you're not feeling well. 100,000%.
Right.
I'm going to make sure that you have everything you need to be successful. So in the event that we need to help you grow out of the company, you understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not shocked.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love you too so much. That's my baby right there.
Oh,
You know
okay.
that's my bow legs.
Okay, Bolex. Thanks for coming through. Well, yeah, I agree. And I think that I'll say for me, in my particular job, we're at a place where we're looking for employees because the top half was there for 20, 30 years, sometimes in some cases 40 years, and they want to retire or they croaked off or any number of reasons. And now we're trying.
I
I mean,
heard that in
listen,
a
we got
minute.
some that's been there for some time,
Right.
but there's a huge gap there. And it takes us a while to really learn our job and go through the training process and be effective at it and be experts to some degree. And it's not caught up yet. But what I
Right.
blame that on is senior management not looking at that, foreseeing and projecting that we're going to need to backfill some of these roles and opportunities as these people start elevating in their career, going different places or what have you, or retiring or whatever the case is. That's
But do
what
you
I
think
blame that on.
But do you really think that they're looking at it because they're not looking at it because they don't really want you to elevate? How many companies really promote within? It's easier to bring somebody from the outside in than it is to promote from the inside up. And if if the baby boomer generation is looking at it from, you don't look like me to be here,
Mm-hmm.
not you don't have the capability. You don't look like me to be here.
Right.
When you Google some of these jobs and go through their leadership, like it was one job, I can't think of their name because if I did, I would call it out because I always want to smoke. There
Right.
wasn't a bad company. It wasn't a bad company. But when they wanted to work with me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm hearing their tone and demeanor. And I'm like, you
Okay.
don't look like me. So let me Google what you look like.
Yeah.
So I put a company up and everybody was white. All white men. And I
Mm-hmm.
knew that was going to be a problem because even when I went to the second tier of leadership, there was
Mm-hmm.
one woman and she was the director of people. So you got her in HR. So you already tell me your overhead structure. There's no diversity, equity, and inclusion in that. I'm not moving up. Y'all are friends.
Yeah.
So you want me to be in this position because you know we're going to handle the operational side. We're going to
Mm-hmm.
make this train run.
Mm-hmm.
So you want me to provide you projections up. You're not able to provide it down because you out of touch. Us, that middle level management is in touch. But then what makes it frustrating is that we're not seen.
Yeah.
We're not valued for the effort. So then you have to turn around and say, why am I not? I'm 20 years in. I've given you my time, my patience for this little money that you've increased me 2% every other year or whenever you felt like doing it. And I've shown you loyalty for you to give me a manager that's 20 years younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they just finished school. They did an internship here. I gave you 20 years of my time.
Yeah.
I've gained all this. I've trained this person. I've done this. You've given me all of these accolations of just, hey, I'm doing a great job. But you brought a new person in, fresh off the press, to be my manager.
Mm-hmm.
So then that is what's happening to us. So then we have to figure out what is our next step. Like I said, we should be preparing to exit the workforce and pivot into consulting.
Mm-hmm.
Call me when you need somebody to untangle this spider web.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, Rebecca can't do it. because Rebecca don't know what that experience is. That experience is. I've seen
She's
it
not
happen 3
equipped. Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
She
I
got to go
agree.
ask Chat GPT. I don't.
There's a lot of truth to that. And I could see that in some certain industries, where they would bring in a younger person, as you said, that has maybe perhaps a relationship with someone and has gotten through the internship. I've seen that many times throughout my career at other large companies, right? Well, I'm not gonna say their names, but I will also say that for me, in my experience, again, I work for the Department of Defense. It takes a certain level of skill set and expertise to be able to do a lot of the jobs within our organization. So those
Mhm.
skill sets are very hard and unique to find in the civilian spectrum. And so to translate that, not to say that we don't, right? We do have some, that have zero to no military experience, right?
Mhm.
But it is difficult, I think, for them to truly understand the bigger scheme of things, right?
Right.
And understand how the services work, how the chain of commands work, how the sense of urgency, with getting things out to end users and so on and so forth. So from my position, I could see where it would be easier to leverage yourself or put yourself in a position to uh, get promoted. But again, it's also attached to who it is that you know. That is a
Exactly.
true fact.
And if you
Right.
have not made those relationships, go
True.
find you another job. And
Yeah,
so
that part.
it's like our work ethic says stay here, it's comfortable, they recognize you, XYZ. That's the mental part of it. That's absolutely untrue.
Yeah.
But then when you get looked over for 3 or 4 promotions, you try to post out, the opportunity is not given to you, it's given out. That's a clear sign to move the hell on.
Yeah.
Because when you move on, that next company is going to see you as a value add, and they're going to give you 10, 15, $20,000 more a year.
True.
Then I also seen something on LinkedIn where it was a recruiter, and she was doing a survey about why people don't want to go back in the office. And they was
Mm.
trying to base it off of generations. And of
Mhm.
course, I stepped in for Gen X. And because this one man, he was like, we are the most social, which could make true to a point. Baby boomers they're not, I don't know, I really don't know. But Generation X, we didn't have cell phones. So we had to go over somebody's house. We had to
Yeah.
be outside. And that's another thing. These millennials and Gen Z, they don't have to go outside. That's the problem.
They
We had to go
terrified.
outside. That's why they got vitamin D deficiencies. They don't go outside. They play
Yeah.
games. So, but then I beg to differ. I'm like, I don't want to be around nobody. I can't even say that these generations deal with all of this social anxiety. I personally don't like small talk to the point
Yep.
where it would frustrate me and infuriate me if I have to sit there and talk about your dog. I don't know your dog. I don't like your
Your wife
dog.
agrees.
I don't exactly. And I actually had a manager that told me that. He pulled me, we didn't put him to the side, but he scheduled a Teams call to tell me that the other young ladies felt like I wasn't engaging with them. And I knew the exact scenario. I said, why?
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to talk about her chickens. Well, I mean, I'm not, no, you're coming to me telling me that these other people feel that I'm not engaging because I'm like this. I didn't have a chicken story to give you. I already had gave it to you when I first started.
I love it.
I saved all of my energy, all of my fake smiles, all of that. I bundled it up for my first training week or two. So I was talking about my chickens that got ate by, I tried to make sure that I was able to communicate. I'm burnt out now. I've given you everything. I fake laugh 3 times this week. So therefore, by the end of the week, I have no more for you because I used it up on Monday.
It's over.
It's over.
So
I
I
don't
think
have that social energy for you. And you don't, and like I told this other man, I said, you don't have to oversee me to see me. My presence doesn't equal performance because I know how this works. If I'm in the
Mhm.
building, I ain't did nothing. that I'm supposed to do all day. I'm typically on TikTok. I'm on Facebook until it's time for me to leave. Now, when I get home, I'm working nonstop. I don't know what it is, but I can't do it.
Yeah.
You got nasty people in the workplace. When I'm talking about hygiene, nasty. I don't want to have to
Okay.
deal with that. And I shouldn't have to be forced to deal with it.
Yeah.
Well, need to
Let's see.
go in the
We need to go into the office then.
I'm not answering.
Yeah. Well, listen, I agree. I think that if you know that about yourself, there's nothing wrong with being able to communicate that. And I feel like there should be some way to balance your time at work or in the office versus time at home, especially if they're looking at or counting on productivity, right? Um, as you know, I think I've shared before, we're now back in the office at least 3 days a week, right? Whereas for COVID, we were home at 5 days, right? We were home all the time. And before that, I was at a place where I could get 3 days telework, but I only worked 4 days. So I only went in the office 1 day a week, which was fine. I didn't have a problem with that. But there's some things that my company and my business did not bring back after COVID. Like we don't have a staff that, cooks, that we don't have meals in our cafeteria. We don't have a shuttle to take us from the parking lot to the front door. So there's some amenities that we're missing from that. Am I crying about it? No, but they are, it's a disadvantage that we don't have those things that, make life a little bit more comfortable for us, especially if we're going to have to be in the office for 3 days out of 5. Right. But that's, something they have to work on. I think that Gen X's are a little bit more flexible, and I feel like they're a little bit more flexible in that situation where, if they're forced to come back to the office versus, let's say, a Gen Z, right? They like,
I'm on their
you don't think
side.
so? Yeah, no, I
I'm
am
on their side.
on their side, right? But I feel like there should be a survey. I feel like there should be a survey, and then our productivity should match what it is that we're asking for, right? Because I understand this is a business, right? And I'm paying you, or they're paying us to do a job. I get that, but don't force me back in because, like you said, because you got to pay a rent, right, to this building, and you don't
Yeah.
want to sit. Find another place to recoup that money.
But I
There's
mean,
lots
if
of
the
ways. I think you
job
can.
warrants it, I get it. Like if you
Yeah.
work in a warehouse,
Mhm.
you physically you can't warehouse work from home. You can't do
At
it.
all. Not that I'm
If
aware.
you took that job as a server over at the Golden Corral, you can't serve home. I get it. But if you are doing billing, you just open that laptop and just call it a
Mhm.
day. Just get it done.
Anywhere.
Even call center work, as long as you got a quiet space. Because I don't had many of call centers I done called this week alone and heard dogs barking in the background.
Yep. Or kids. Summertime now.
It don't bother me because
Yeah.
you're gonna hear mine.
I get it. Yeah.
Right. But so it's like, I think if the job warrants it, okay. Remember we had that brief discussion about Dell.
Yeah.
60,000 employees said, hell no. And then they tried to threaten them. Well, you won't get a raise. Okay.
So
They're like, we're gonna be going in a year 2 anyway. Nobody is standing. No, I'm not saying nobody. These generations don't have a long-term plan to stay at these corporations.
true.
That's not how it works.
Yeah.
So you telling me that, well, you won't be available for, you won't get a merit increase. All right. I'll be going next year anyway. And that's why they need to really stop asking those questions. What is your 5-year plan? It's not here.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
me, I'm more upfront when I get asked that question. I'll let them know this is my plan. And if that career path is not an option here, well, then we can revisit it in 2 years. And I just gave you my answer.
Okay. Okay.
Because I'm letting you know I want to grow. But in 5 years, I should not be one step up. In 5 years, with what I'm already bringing to the table, I need to be right up under or at that COO level.
Yeah.
I know that for a fact. So no, and if we can't, and if there's no career path, there's no career development that can lead me, or a manager that's willing to take that opportunity and guide me through there, we can revisit the conversation in 2 years. It's up to you whether you bring me aboard or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if not, but I stay looking. I put in at least 13 to 15 Indeed every day, just for fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm gonna say I don't know if the millennials or the Gen Zs are comfortable having those kinds of conversations. Or it could be like you said, they don't care. They don't want to have necessarily, it sounds like they don't necessarily want to have the conversation about 5 years, 10-year plans, or where I see myself, and so on and so forth, because they really don't see themselves,
There.
there very long. That's not a part of their plan.
They'll get there when they get there. And I can respect that,
Sure.
because why are we making these long plans for someone else
Mm-hmm.
and not for ourselves? I honestly have so much respect for Gen Z, because at least they speak up. Remember that last week, that young lady said, "You're not paying me to do billing. You're paying me to
Yeah.
do this. And this is what."
Yeah.
They would speak up. Them crybaby millennials, not. They're going to keep doing it. And I don't know why they treat me so bad, and I give everything. Girl, go take a nap.
Yeah. They're still in their emotions.
Extremely emotional.
Mm-hmm.
If a job is laying off, they panic more than anybody. And I'm sitting there like, oh, I guess I got to go find something else. I mean, what else you want me to do? I'm not going to beg you for it. But
Yeah.
Gen Z, they speak up for themselves. They tell you off the rip what is happening. When it come down to work like that, they don't mind calling out. Hey, I woke up and I'm not having a good day today. Well, so you're not going to come in. You need, and then these jobs that give you accrued PTO, to me, that's a penalty of being an employee. Because why do I have to accrue it versus you give it to me and and then you can help? I don't mind structuring it to make sure it doesn't impact business.
Mm-hmm.
But you want me to accrue it, which means I don't work 3 weeks and I only got 0.33. No, then I'm gonna be in the negative. That doesn't make sense. And you're putting people in these places where they have to choose the work or life balance.
Yeah.
And I think right now, these younger generations are teaching us my mental health, my emotional health is more important. And social responsibility is more important than me sticking around here.
Yeah.
This is not Ford Motor Company, and this is not Detroit.
And they know they got options.
Because if not, they can go and be an influencer and be on TV all night selling this TikTok perfumes that people like me buy.
Absolutely, they can. Absolutely. So, what other contributions do you think that the Gen Xers or us contribute to this wonderful world?
I really think we're the bridge.
Okay. That's a
I
good way to
really
look
feel
at it.
like we're the bridge between the generations, because we have that, we can empathize on a lot of it.
Okay.
We don't have sympathy, because if I got hit, you get hit. I don't have sympathy, but I can understand. But let me help you see it in a different way. I understand, but if you look at it like this here, maybe you'll see it in a different way. So we bridge it. When it comes down to navigating these baby boomers, you have to stroke their feelings.
Yeah.
Because their mindset is, you don't have a right to be here. Not that you don't deserve it because you're Black. You don't have a right to be here because you're a woman. You don't have a right to be here because you don't look like me. You're not in my same circle. So then therefore you don't deserve this space. That's why they're still keeping the table.
Okay.
Then when you're dealing with millennials, you got to tell them, listen, it's not that serious. It really isn't. Then when you get to Gen Z, it's like, yo, you got to do something. Gen Alpha.
I mean, we are paying you.
Yeah, you got to do something. You cannot bring your boyfriend to work. You can't do it. You have to have those conversations with them. You have to have, you do know that you cannot TikTok while on shift, right? You do know that, right?
Right.
I didn't know. You didn't. Okay. We have to really, really, like, we know how to read between the lines,
Yeah. Yeah.
but sometimes you got to break it down. Like, you just can't do it. Like, okay, I'm gonna give you a good example. This was when I was at FILA. This was way
Okay.
before Abby was born. And I had 92 individuals that reported to me. 92 guys, because the girls never stayed, but I had 92 guys. And on lunch, I go outside, walk outside to get, a little fresh air. Dude sitting on the curb, lighting it up. Not a crack pipe. He was lighting up. It's
Mary Jane.
marijuana. Yeah, he was lighting it up. I said, yo, you can't do that. I'm on my break. Okay. All right. I get it's your break, but you're still at work on your break.
Property.
Yeah, sitting right in front of the door on the curb. I said, you can't do that at work.
Whew.
This was way before the law was passed. I said
Okay.
it's illegal. 2, it is a drug. 3, it's not a drug, it's a herb. It grow from the ground. I don't care where it grew from. This is company property. You can't do it. I mean, I'm on my break. That was his fighting answer.
Yeah.
I'm on my break. I said, this is where the Gen X in me came out. I said, listen, do you see those guys walking that way, that whole group? He said, yeah. Why don't you go take a walk? I don't feel like walking. You're missing my point. You see those group of guys that are walking? Why don't you go take a walk? So I'm giving you the tool to be successful, but you're arguing with me that you're on your break.
I tell you.
I had another guy. He sees the director of operations walking in the parking lot, and he's this big burly black dude, big. He's been in prison, so he's working in warehousing. That's what he gives. Yo, let me talk to you for a second. Scared the living hell out of that damn man. That man jumped in that car so quick and then called me. Why is he following me? I'm like, calm down, Al. Hold on, let me go figure out. I said, yo, why is you doing that? He was like, I was just trying to holler at him. All right. People like that need a buffer before you get to them. If you have something to ask, I've never shortchanged it before. Come and ask me. I will keep you on the email. I'll let you listen to the phone conversation so you'll know that I'm giving them. I'd be like, all right. That's Gen X.
Yeah.
Nobody else is going to be able to navigate through that.
Yeah. Well, so then if there is a transition or there is a kind of maneuvering through the generations, right? There had to have been a shift from baby boomers into Gen X's. What do you propose those challenges were?
You don't have to think about that. I feel that baby boomers are, the challenge is communication. The challenge is, I want to say, a standard of work ethic.
Okay.
Because
And
the baby boomers, the baby boomers that I know is keep your head down, stay to yourself to get the job done. And I'm like, no, I'm going to speak up for myself.
Okay.
Like, I don't have to tolerate what he's saying. Well, all you're going to do is get in trouble. Okay, wait a minute. So now you taking me back in slave days. I'm not going to shut up. I would take that L to get my point across. Okay. So what do you feel it is?
I think it's a combination of that, right? So some cultural differences, right? And adjustments from perhaps Gen X's wanting to do things in their way because they perhaps see things differently than the baby boomers did, right? So by that time, there's a lot of things that transitioned or that developed or evolved, and just kind of like with technology now, right? So I feel like that was the the changing point in, or the shift in the attitudes and the behaviors and the things that the Gen Xers developed as a result of not necessarily agreeing or co-signing with
Mhm.
everything that the baby boomers had to, I guess, pass along, if that makes
Right.
sense.
It
Yeah.
makes sense.
So I think that's the biggest thing. But again, it would have been supported by, I hear what you're saying, but there's a better way. There's more
Right.
of a method of work smarter, not harder.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I do know, going back to a part of the cultural differences,
Hmm.
because again, baby boomers are culturally indifferent in my
Yes.
perspective. They see things as their world was developed.
Hmm.
I had I'm gonna call her a young lady, but she's much older than me. She was put under me as her overseeing supervisor on paper
Okay.
because she was doing some work for me under my project.
Okay.
I asked one question. Hey, I said, I noticed that you put 20 hours on your timesheet towards this job. Could you tell me exactly what efforts you put towards it? Because what you reported doesn't amount to what you put on your timesheet.
Hmm.
So basically, her job was twice a month. She would get the documents from our subcontractor. I would upload some documents. She put them together and she emailed it out twice a month. That's not 20 hours worth of work each week.
Mm-mm.
And I didn't come at her any kind of way. It was politely on the email. She went off, escalated it up. Questioning her time. Yeah, I am. But I didn't question it in the manner that you put it in.
Yeah.
And you got a problem because I CC everybody. I said, I didn't have a problem with you CCing it. My issue was I wanted to give it space for me and you to talk about your timesheet before you put all of these extra. I was direct. Definitely direct. That's my daddy
Th-
right there, child. That's my
Thank
spiritual
you,
father.
Larry.
And so, and she blew it up. And ultimately she told me, she said, well, I need to figure out what I want to do. So she quit. And I said, all I asked was, can you justify it? Because if not, I was going to be able to assign her more to do because of the type of position that she has. She was an MBE fill-in. So they have to account for and real quick, with MBEs, they get a certain percentage of the contract either way it go. So technically
Okay.
they don't have to do no work, but the company wants to verify that she did do enough work to justify these thousands of dollars that you're getting.
Yeah, rightfully so.
And I just simply asked. And now she says she's not doing it. Then she sent me a timesheet for the month of June. I said, do you really think I'm gonna pay this? I rejected good old fashioned. Click. Nope, absolutely not.
Woo.
But it's you, unfortunate. But the story that she and her name was Karen. She
Of
acted
course
like
it
one.
was.
She acted like one. She wanted you listen to me, and now it's certain trigger words you can't say to me. Like, I need you to. You don't need me to do nothing. Like, you get all of that. And I told her, I said, you don't talk to me like I owe you something, or like I am subject to you, or like you. The way she was talking to me is if she was my master. So I had to call that out for what it was.
I got to get her
You
together.
listen to me. I said, no, you listen to me. And we get into this whole thing. So either way it go, you really have to be able to navigate and stroke their ego.
Yeah.
And you have to be like, you know what? I would have never figured that out if it wasn't for you. They like stuff like that, even though I be lying.
Shovel it
But
right
it
in.
helps. Yeah. And it's like, I had this one guy, I had to tell him like I already knew the answer, but I was like, hey, Mike, what do you think about if we do XYZ? You know what? If you do that and then we can do this, I'd be sitting there like, yeah, got it. Knowing good and well, I wasn't gonna take nothing. You have to emotionally coax them and rub their back and rub their head to make them feel good and worthwhile. Then you got to go get the millennials up out the dirt from crying and burying their head like they giraffes or something. Then
That's too
with the
much like a
Gen Z,
relationship.
that's why we as Gen Xers need to navigate out of management. And then two, listen, I can't do it no more. This is
Yeah,
why we burn out.
they
Because
don't pay you
it's
enough.
too much trying to piss these Lego blocks is just too much.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. So let me ask you this question and then we can kind of close up. So, in order to be able to manage the various kinds of generations that potentially could be in uh, uh, report to you, do you feel like there should be an extra stipend to cover that? Because there's going to be some additional training I feel like that you should need, and some I don't know. You got to be able to handle that in a responsible way. And I just don't know that one or that your initial agreed upon salary is going to cover that. I just don't think it is.
Absolutely not. And they will make you like a workhorse with it. Because you sell yourself on the fact
Yeah.
that you can resolve this issue. You sell yourself that you can bridge that issue.
Yeah.
But then when you're in the issue, it's like, I can meet that expectation, but I wasn't prepared for this. And so now, no, you need to compensate me because money do talk.
Yeah. Run me that
You
bag.
know, I need it. And if not, I need a lot of unlimited PTO.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can negotiate other
Yeah.
stuff. I don't have to come in
Okay.
office. I don't want to see nobody's face. Like, there has to be some incentive. If not, I will be taking my FML and my short-term disability because you've made me mad.
I can feel that. I can get that. That work-life balance is a mandatory, especially if we're not talking about a financial compensation to have to deal with all of this and that. And it could be a number of things that vary between the generational gaps.
Or
So, yeah.
you put that company in a position to where they really see or feel the impact of you not being there.
I like that better.
Like, yeah, it's like, hey, you obviously I wasn't what you felt that I was living up to. So now that I'm no longer here, you have to find 3 people to do the one of me. Call me when you're ready for my consultant.
Okay. Make sure you got my email spelled correctly.
That's it. Because now I'm not charging you $52 an hour. I'm going to be charging you $15,000 a session because this is what I've been trying to tell you.
Okay. Absolutely.
Like, even with diversity, equity, and inclusion, they need our balance because it's like they don't understand. Like, I get the social responsibility that the younger generations are bringing in, but them baby boomers don't understand how certain terms are offensive because it's naturally them.
Right. They're just stuck in those ways.
They're stuck in those ways. So you need somebody to be able to like, hey, John, I just want to let you know that really was not appropriate. Well, why wasn't appropriate? Because you cannot term a person aggressive. You can't do this. You can't do certain things, and explain to them why. Now, don't do it again. But then with the younger people, you got some young and careless where I had this one guy, he made a statement, Black people don't know who their family is because their family never left them with nothing. Now, granted, it kind of did resonate a little bit.
Okay.
But then I had to tell him how inappropriate that was.
Yeah.
I also had to tell him how inappropriate it was for him to call the guy Kuta Kinte. You have to be able to like, listen, let's
the
talk
conversations that you have to listen. You're
doing a job of HR. You're doing a job of everything.
And you got to have a conversation with an adult, not to call another adult Kunta Kinte and explain to them why they're not offended.
Why it's a problem. Or why is it a problem when somebody tells you a cultural difference and just because you don't agree with it, your response should not be, well, I have a Black nephew. That's a problem.
Listen,
Let's
the
talk
price
about
just went up.
Yeah. Let's talk about
The
that.
price to consult just went up.
It
That
is,
just makes
because
no
now
sense.
you want me to execute my yellow belt in diversity, equity, and inclusion on you. That's a different cost.
Man. Well, this has been a great conversation, man. Gen Xers, like you said, I am a Gen Xer. You're a Gen Xer. We're just the best. If y'all want to fight
We're the
about it, fight in
best.
the comments.
And
Look,
we
I'm with
ready
you.
for it. We
Okay,
love a
we
good
want
fight
the
in the
smoke.
comments. Yeah,
I dare
exactly.
you to say anything else other than Gen Xers is the best. I dare
We
you.
are the best.
I dare you.
We are absolutely the best.
All right. You got anything else before we close out, man?
No, I can't wait. I can't wait to talk about these millennials.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully we
They
can find
stressful.
some.
I'm already stressing. It ain't even next Friday.
I know, right? We got to
We got to
prepare
talk
for
about
them.
these millennials.
Pray.
Exactly. Let me go and get some oil and all kind of stuff, because them jokers need it.
Woo. Cool. All right. Well, listen, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in for tonight's episode. We thank you. We love you. Our community. We are blessed because of it. Please like, click, and share the content. And until next week, y'all have a regal mindset and be blessed.
Be blessed. We are